Hi, I'm Caitlin Caserta for CTV. It's time for this week's edition of Campus Conversation. Right now, I'm standing outside of the Stern Center waiting to go talk to the College of Charleston Student Body President Isaiah Nelson. He's going to tell us a little bit about himself and about the recent Rally for Higher Education he attended in Columbia. Involved in the SGA.
Well, when I was a freshman, I got to the college, I was really looking for opportunities to kind of get more involved with the school and learn about what goes on at the college, but also make a difference here. And so I ended up running for freshman senate, which was a really great experience to kind of just learn about kind of the inner workings of the university, but also learn about how students can get involved and kind of impact the processes that are going on at the college. And so then, at the end of my freshman year, I decided that I wanted to take a step up and see if I could kind of make a bigger difference in the organization. So I ended up running for vice president and was lucky enough to get elected, and then ended up running for president the end of my sophomore year, and was again lucky enough to be elected, and here we are.
Okay, and what do you do as the student body president?
As student body president, well, the student body president has a very interesting but active role at the college. First of all, just kind of talking to students and making sure that the SGA as a whole stays connected to what's going on at the college, and making sure that student input is always heard on a lot of different issues. So that definitely involves a lot of different things that goes on. One of the biggest things we've worked on this year is trying to get a student on the board of trustees. What we're trying to, because our overall goal, overall mission is always trying to make sure that the university and the administration hears our concerns and hears our desires. So what we try to do is institutionalize that throughout the university, make it so that even once I'm gone, once you're gone, once the student body here is gone, that student input will be heard and it will be institutionalized, so those positions will always be there no matter what. So we've been trying to work on that and do a lot of different things like that.
Did you have a good turnout when you went to the State House up in Columbia?
Great. We organized that here, working in collaboration with USC and Clemson, but we hosted it. It was a really great event. We had probably about 30 students come up with us. We had about 15 or 16 College of Charleston students.
Did anything beneficial come out of the Rally for Higher Education?
You know, our goal was to get a lot of media attention and to make sure that the state and the nation heard our message. And our message was that we want higher education to be a priority in South Carolina, and that we also want higher education. We understand higher education will be part of the solution for balancing our budget here in South Carolina, but we want to make sure that it's only part of the solution, it's not the solution. That our budget is not balanced on the backs of higher education or education in general. And so that message was heard loud and clear up in Columbia. We got national coverage. We were in Forbes magazine, Boston Globe, New York Times. It was really good. It was a very successful event, and we were really happy to be up there. And legislators were receptive to our messages, so it was good.
Wow. Because I know that Georgia, they get about $20,000 per student per year, and then we only get about $5,000.
It's true.
So this whole...
It's troubling. It's
yes.
troubling. And what we have to look at is how is South Carolina going to advance itself over the next 15, 20, 30 years? And that's an investment in its people, an investment in its citizens. Unfortunately, we're not seeing that right now. South Carolina has one of the highest tuition rates of the Southeast, but it also spends the least amount of money on education. Right. So there's a definite correlation there. And we also understand that as funding from the state of South Carolina decreases to universities around the state, tuition will increase. We understand that the correlation is present there as well. And so our message is that you cannot penalize schools for increasing tuition when you continue to decrease state funding. And we have been penalized over the last few years for increasing our tuition. We still have our tuition is still, it's the 6th highest tuition in the state. We have 13 flagship schools in South Carolina, and our tuition is the 6th highest. So we are very much in accordance with the rest of the state. So we don't feel that our school should be punished for raising tuition, especially when our tuition is very much in accordance with the rest of the state.
Okay. Does the SGA have any future plans for funding for the college?
We're looking to continue this message of keeping our education in South Carolina of quality and of affordability. So we're trying to make sure that a lot of people hear that message. We're trying to make sure that our state hears that message. So as they go through the budgeting process over the next few months, we're going to make sure that student input is continuing to be heard. That we had a big event last week, but that will not be the only thing we do. We've been very active in expressing our desires and kind of student input in the state spectrum. And so what we want to make sure is we're continuing to do that. And as the budget is formulated, we're working with the higher ed committees in both the Senate and the House to make sure that that we can maintain funding for education where it can be maintained, and that the sacrifices that we have to make are in accordance with the rest of the state.
Thank you so much to Isaiah Nelson for taking the time to talk to us this afternoon. If anyone is interested in joining the SGA or becoming more involved with the college, the Senate meets every Tuesday at 4:30 afternoon in the Stern Center Ballroom. All are welcome. For this week's edition of Campus Conversation, for CTV, I'm Caitlin Caserta.